Nick gets a feel for his new surroundings, and it seems he has found a place where the dead aren't monsters. That's usually reserved for the people. Plus, Strand, Maddie, and the girls check out the local hotels. TripAdvisor review: the kitchen's empty, but the bar's still stocked. It's Fear the Walking Dead, Season 2, Episode 9, Los Muertos. Alright, D here, and there are spoilers ahead, just so you've been warned. Alright, so we've sort of a fair episode today, really a lot more setup than action going on, but one that finds the characters kind of waffling between very smart decisions and very dumb ones. The religious iconography that sort of followed Nick's journey kind of comes to a fore here as he runs into the community that sees the dead as just a temporary thing, something that will pass on, and that they will be the chosen ones that will survive further on into the next world. It's very much a question of belief versus observable reality. Finding out what is more important right now. Is it faith or is it survival? And the question really is heightened by the discovery of the leader of the community, that's their pharmacist, Alejandro Nunez, has apparently survived a walker bite himself and not turned. Meanwhile, over with Strand, Maddie, and the girls, we're dealing a lot with losses, of kind of that transition moment. We have Maddie, who's no longer got Nick, who was a big presence in her life, and not having the sort of stabilizing presence that Travis represented, is starting to degrade, is starting to sort of fall apart. She's sort of cracking. And she's being guided, or at least held up right now, with Strand, who's dealing with a lot of his own losses, those changes. Not only has he lost Thomas and the Abigail at this point, but realizing that a lot of the skills for his life, all of that smooth talking and maneuvering and getting on up, isn't applying in this world. These are skills that are really no longer applicable. Then you have Ophelia, who's dealing with the loss of both of her parents right now, and sort of questioning that whole, why do we continue on? But it's Alicia that is stepping up and really deciding that it's all about survival. That's really the only thing that we focus on right now, really stepping up for her character. So there are some great moments throughout this, but unfortunately it's also perpetuated with a lot of the problems that many of these episodes continue to have, and that is contrived circumstances in order to have a scene or get to a point or make a statement, but without an organic way to get there. For me, really the big two standouts with this is Nick's whole scene with the drug dealers, as well as, of course, the big drunken Walker brawl. And we'll get into both of those a little bit more specifics. Now first, there's Nick and the whole Walker-World Wal-Mart scene. I just don't believe that Nick would be dumb enough to steal from underneath the eyes of a bunch of armed drug dealers. Nick is a heroin addict. He knows these people. He knows the danger these types of people represent. I just don't believe that he would be dumb enough to try and sneak some cookies in his back pocket. And even so, even with the whole oxy discussion that he had with them, why wait until that last moment? Why wait until your arm's going to be chopped off? One, they may not listen. They may chop it off anyway. It's sort of dumb to sort of wait until that last minute to sort of bring up, hey, we have this oxy and I know that you need oxy. I know this is sort of illustrating Nick's toughness and Nick's drug knowledge and everything like this. And of course, later on finding out he's doing all of this just to connect with a little girl who lost her parent. Messed up scene right there in the very beginning. I just got to throw that out. That was totally, totally wrong. But I don't believe that he would really be dumb enough to try and do that. Not with these people. I mean, at the very least, if he wanted the cookies, he could have just looked at Luciana there when she said no and said, hey, you dragged me out here, you wanted my help, I want a small thing of cookies. We can fill up this whole cart, I just need this one little thing. He could have stuck it in between the water bottles that were piled up in there. So that whole scene, I had a lot of problems with. Again, I know they're trying to illustrate Nick's ability to negotiate, but I just don't believe that he would have been dumb enough to make that particular move right there. There were just so many other ways of do that, and it's it's pulling off of a lot that they would even have taken a moment to listen to him. In that type of world, they probably would have just cut his hand off before he had a moment. They're not going to stop and listen to him. I didn't believe that. Again, that's one of those contrived scenes. I don't think that organically got into that situation. I don't believe Nick would have tried to steal that. I don't believe he would have waited the last minute. I think if he was going to try and negotiate and step up, he could have done that at the very beginning. Hey, you need this. We're going to get this. Even if it took him a moment to see, yes, we've got, the drug dealer, the sister, she's going to go through withdrawals. Don't you think that they know that? They're drug, that's the whole thing that they're going on. And they probably have a lot more access with a larger city than just their little place and what that one pharmacy has. So it's just those little things that they irritate me. They do. And with Maddie and her group, it was like there were some really cool moments, and actually they have a great moment, and I'll get to that, but they had some very cool moments of kind of developing the skills. Again, this is early on. We're like 3 weeks, 2-3 weeks into the apocalypse if we follow a timeline. We are not that far into it. So they are still learning skills. And I liked a lot of those moments as they sat in front of the hotel and they observed and they waited. Hey, we don't hear anything, we don't see anything. They spent a little time. Okay, that's smart. When they first break into the hotel, it seems like that they're making noise. Is that going to draw out walkers? Even Strand is hitting the bell over and over again. That seems smart. Hey, your letting sound lets you know if there's anything in the area. That's great. The split up, I don't mind. I mean, yeah, usually you want to stay together, but you can cover more ground. It seems safe. This is the standard Scooby-Doo lineup, you two and you two. Okay, that's fine. I had no problem with that. The knocking on the doors, that was a great thing. Oh, and the walker comes. All right, so go to the next door, and she does. Oh, okay, we'll knock. This learning of new skills and trying to figure all of this out, that I really did enjoy. I thought that was great. But then you get into the other sections where it's the whole drunkenness. Yeah, let's get drunk, start throwing glasses and playing bad piano really loudly. I don't believe that they would do that. And Ophelia disappearing for no reason at all. Alicia jumps in the shower, comes back out. Oh, where did Ophelia go? Yes, that's something that we're going to find out, but I don't see why she would run off. And then even when Alicia runs off, she doesn't bother grabbing a weapon, a knife, a stick, an umbrella, anything, a piece of luggage just to throw. You should be absolutely paranoid at this point. Yes, it's early in the apocalypse, but that's when the fear is kind of the biggest. They just look around. It seems empty. The walkers were in the building right across the street. It's like they parked. Here was the hotel, and here was that little mini mall that had the walkers all up. I think they would be a little bit aware of it, or even if they're not seeing anything, they've left a door open. Again, it's that movement from being very smart to being very dumb, and not in a realistic standpoint. More along the lines of, hey, we want to have a big drunken walker fight. That's cool. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But get to it in a better way, in something that makes a bit more sense and doesn't require everybody to suddenly get really stupid. All right, and then just a few other small little points from the episode. One, they seem to be getting a little lazy with the whole zombie blood application. Before it was we're drenched all over and we've got it covered onto everything here and it's dripping on us. And now they just walk up to the one walker and it's like, okay, well, here. Okay, we're done. Let's go. I mean, honestly, Nick's got to smell like the frickin' dead as it is right now. I mean, with that shirt, it hasn't been washed. Yeah, I got a little rain on, but come on, it's still red. That guy's got to smell like the dead as it is. He probably doesn't need all of that much. But still, it's making the walkers less of a danger if all that is you just need to spray a little ode to dead on you and you're done. And speaking of, I think they're getting a little too free with the whole blood interaction as it is. They're not really paying much attention. I mean, Nick didn't even wipe the blood off of his hands when he handed the cookies to the little girl. And not to mention waking up next to Typhoid Mary like that and the bloods and things. There are other infections that could happen. And I realize this community is kind of worshiping the dead and everything like that. But still, I just think that you would be maybe a little bit more cautious on just regular sanitariness. Oh, and grocery carts. Don't they make a lot of noise? Every time I've used an old grocery cart, it's like, and they're walking down through the streets trying to avoid walkers, and they've got all this stuff up in the carts. I think that would sort of draw some walkers to them. Oh, and the guy who hung himself in the hotel because he's given up. Again, it's been like 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe that's just a really long time when you're in the midst of it, but that's not long enough to really lose all of hope. And by the same point, that piano should not have been out of tune. Okay? I had a piano that wasn't tuned up for years, and it just, I mean, there was a little bit that went out. It wasn't great, but normally a good piano is going to stay tuned for at least 6 months or so before it even starts to go out, even sort of a crappy lounge piano like that. So, yeah, I don't know. Just didn't really believe that whole haunted, out-of-key piano playing that Strand was doing. That was awful. And lastly, okay, the scene with the walkers falling out of the hotel was beautiful. Easily the best scene of the episode, and definitely, I think, in many episodes. The one shot from Alicia's perspective as the zombie fall, hit the ground, crumpled, and then got itself back up, and the next one fell and did the same thing, and then just started walking towards the bar was beautiful. That is the type of shots that we want to see. Very powerful, very, very creepy, really showing the dangers. It's not that they fall and get smushed. They'll fall, crush, get back up, and drag themselves to you. That is fearing the Walking Dead, and that's stuff that we should see a lot more of. Anyway, so that, I believe, wraps it up for this week. Next week, I think we finally may be able to see what's going on with Travis and whether or not Chris is still alive. That boy ain't right. And also maybe get a little bit more shot into Alejandro and that bite on the shoulder that looked really nasty, and see what the story behind that is. Did he just say that it was a walker bite? Luciana said that she saw it, but what did she see? This would be really interesting. Also, you know, with any disease, there are always people that are immune, and we have not run into that. That would be kind of an interesting point to see people that might have an actual immunity to the Walker virus. And then what happens when they die? I don't know. Interesting. Anyway, that's it for this week. If you did enjoy this review, go ahead and hit that like button. You can press the subscribe button right underneath the fear right here. Come back every week. We've got, like I said, a few more episodes. We're just into this. We've got 6 episodes total for the rest of the second half. So this was number 2 down, 4 left to go, and then we've got The Walking Dead returning October 23rd. You can check out my reviews of Mr. Robot. Shows on Wednesday nights on USA. Reviews usually drop by Thursday. And then we have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming up on the 20th of September. So you can come back, check out all of those. What did you think of the episode? Any particular thoughts? Did you like some of the setups? Were you annoyed with some of those parts the same as I was? Go ahead and throw those down in the comments section below. You can always catch me on Twitter. I'm at Darren Jakes. There it is right there. Other than that, I think that, like I said, wraps it up for this week. Hope you enjoyed the episode. I'm D, and I am out of here. I'll see you guys next week. Take it easy. Bye-bye.